DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now. 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Just like that, we're off. We're running another brand new live edition of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you until 9 a.m. on what is January 3rd. Welcome back into the show. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the program. You can join us throughout the morning today. And obviously, a lot to get through. But it all does start and center around last night's Monday night football game. What a night. Was enjoying that game, and then all of a sudden, Damar Hamlin goes down, and you're thinking, okay, he's going to be all right. But then an ambulance was brought onto the field. He received CPR. I'm sure most everybody by now has heard that he did suffer cardiac arrest following the hit from a tackle. His heartbeat was restored on the field. The Bills did confirm that last night. He was transferred to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center for further testing. Obviously, they suspended the game. Wow. I don't ever remember watching a game and seeing something like that happen ever in my life.
I have seen it. With hopefully there's going to be a much, much better outcome this time. But if anybody remembers March the 4th, 1990, and I was watching on ESPN when it happened live, the closest thing that I've ever seen to it happening is Hank Gathers. Because Hank had a heart condition. This young man did not. This was a perfect storm that happened with the hit and that caused the cardiac arrest and things of that nature. And then another coaching friend of mine brought up the fact of Reggie Lewis. But those are the only two that are even close to what I saw last night, because that young man, Damar Hamlin, fell just absolutely just collapsed. Yeah, that's exactly what happened to Hank.
I mean, his teammates helped him up after the tackle, thinking everything was okay, and he goes right back down.
Hank had spent some time away from Lionel Marymount and had a medical issue, and they had cleared him and let him come back. He, took an alley-oop, slammed the ball, ran back up the floor, and this was during the West Coast Conference tournament. This was live. And then he just absolutely stumbled and collapsed and never regained consciousness. And Reggie Lewis had the same thing happen. But Reggie had not had the previous situation medically that Hank had, where he had been taken off the floor. Right. But again, both these young men tragically passed away, and it was just horrific. And luckily, 32 years later, because it was 32 years from Hank, hopefully the medical technology and the awareness has evolved to the point where, again, they had a defibrillator there. They had medical personnel there.
Oxygen on the field.
They had to give him 9 minutes of CPR, the oxygen, and so they were able to restart his heart. And so hopefully, again, it's not the exact same condition that Hank had, because Hank had kind of it was a condition that he was born with. Same way with Reggie Lewis. But again, it's the closest thing that I've seen, and I'm talking about just when you collapse on the field. This was one of those things where it wasn't a head injury, it wasn't anything like that. It was just a shot to the chest, and as you've heard some medical experts already say, it put him into cardiac arrest. And so right now he's in critical condition in the hospital in Cincinnati. Hopefully the young man is going to recover. We'll see. He's still in critical condition, but certainly kudos to everyone, all of the medical personnel, the doctors, and everybody that reacted so quickly last night, and to the NFL for rightly suspending the game. They can figure out how to finish it, and they probably are going to need to because of the playoff implications, but that was the furthest thing from anybody's mind last night.
Well, there was no way.
Yeah, there's no way you could play after watching something like that.
Yeah, the way
unless you're Skip Idiot.
Because you looked at the players and the cameras couldn't get in, thank goodness. The cameras couldn't get in close enough to figure out what was going on, so you didn't see it. The players saw it. The players saw exactly what was going on. They saw everything. There was no way you were going to make them go back on the field. I know the NFL, I know there was talk out there that it was okay, we're going to give you 5 minutes.
But I don't think the NFL even knew at the time.
No,
so,
they didn't know.
The coaches and the players and the NFLPA and everybody with common sense.
Once they
used
assessed the situation, it was like, okay, we need to stop this, and they did.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get out to the phone lines real fast. Philip is with us this morning. Good morning, Philip.
What's up, Philip?
Hello.
Hey, what's up? What's going on, man?
Okay, you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we got you.
All right. At the risk of sounding insensitive, but I'm not going to spend 5 minutes being sensitive before I say what I'm going to say. I hope that no one, unfortunately, suffers a massive heart attack that works at the Pentagon today and our military shuts down. I'm sorry that this happened. It's terrible. But I think them canceling the game was just over the top. We all suffer. We all die. We all have loved ones who die. Some of them die at work. It's terrible. It's tragic. But the world doesn't stop because of it. I'm disappointed at the NFL for doing that. I'm disappointed in the players. Now, I might be talking out of turn here, and maybe they've already decided, well, we're going to group together and we're going to play that game tonight because it's an important game.
Well, no, and Philip, and thank you for the call there,
Yeah,
Philip. But you know what? Look, though, I mean, and everybody is entitled. I'll just say this:
you're all entitled to
their own
opinion,
opinions,
even if it's stupid.
And there's no way you can make guys, grown adults, get out there and do this again. Look, if this happened at your work, if you're on your way, you're driving to your work right now. If one of your work colleagues collapses out there and something happens and they get rushed there, you don't feel like sitting there and doing the rest of your job.
Look, man, look. There's a big difference between the Pentagon and national security and an NFL football game. Okay,
yeah,
there's a huge difference in what Philip just compared. A football game can be played. Look, man, if they end up having to play it on a Wednesday at some point and then they play again on Sunday, I mean, boo hoo hoo. I mean, so that's they can the players will deal with it. Okay,
right.
It's not that deep. It's a game. Okay. The freaking country and the national security is a lot more important than an NFL game. And especially last night.
And I think people are smart enough to realize
now,
that.
If this had been a war-type situation, of course they would have continued battling. But that is a completely different thing than playing a football game, man. I mean, you can't do that. This dude is obviously Skip Bayless's cousin or something. Both don't have any damn sense at all. Yeah, I know who Philip is. He calls the Czar show all the time, and he's a big NFL guy, and I respect that. But you just can't play football after what happened to that guy.
But the only thing he got was that it is a big game. It is a big game.
It is, and I think they'll finish it. But in the
small spectrum
DeMar
of
Hamlin
things,
is much more important than the game, okay?
Yeah, that's the thing, though. In the small spectrum,
and I'll just say this.
game.
If you say, I may be sounding insensitive, you damn well know you are. Okay? The first knock of the new year. Wake the hell up, brother.
All right. Pat from Tuscaloosa with us. Good morning, Pat.
Good Lord.
Good morning, fellas.
Morning, Pat. How are you? Happy New Year.
Man, Drew, I got to disagree with that last caller, buddy. Hey, we are not playing. They are gladiators, yes, but we are not in the Coliseum. That was a tragedy, and I feel sorry for that young man. And
wow, totally.
But what I do see is that the amount since '95, and this thing's been working on this since 1995. They've been working on new types of medicine and stuff. And
we're talking about
protocol was outstanding last night.
Agreed.
And I'm hoping that being that the protocol was so fantastic that this guy's going to have a full recovery.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, comparing it with Hank Gathers and Reggie Lewis. And again, it's not the exact same condition, but as you're talking about, Pat, being aware of things of this nature and being prepared and having the technology, hopefully this young man, by somehow in some way, will. And the football's secondary, whether he plays again. It's just the quality of life situation.
Yeah, that he doesn't have brain damage.
Right.
Totally.
Well, yeah, because of the lack of oxygen, that's the concerning thing. I mean, that's why he's in critical condition. From what we heard, that that they did have to put a breathing tube down his throat and everything. So, I mean, this is not something where he's just going to get released today. He's not going to walk out of the hospital today. And this is something that is yes.
Yeah.
Very, very serious.
Now let's talk about a little bit lighter thing. Let's talk about Brian Branch creating money for himself. Brian Branch is probably the top safety going into this draft, but Brian Branch made himself a pocket full of money by playing in New Orleans, and this being brought up and being talked about, I think it's going to be good for college football. These kids opting out. Yeah, what just happened, that was a tragedy, but darn, that could happen at any time. It happens more in baseball than it does in football. And but Brian Branch, how much money do you think he made for himself extra by playing in that ball game?
Well, Pat, I think certainly he was already heavily on the radar, but I certainly think he helped himself. I mean, they didn't name a defensive MVP. They only do that in the college football playoff games. They just name an MVP, and certainly Bryce Young was worthy of that. But when you talk about what Brian Branch did, he had 12 total tackles, 11 of them solo, a sack, 4 tackles for loss. He was flying around. He was everywhere. He had an interception. He played probably the best game of his career, and it's certainly the last game. I went into the game thinking he was going pro, and then with the way he played, certainly, if the NFL scouts have a pulse, he will definitely be a first-round pick. If they based on that, I just think he's the kind of safety. He's fast enough to cover, but he can also play down in the box. He's Mark Barron with better cover skills. I think he's going to be a star.
All right, let's get this break in real fast. When we come back, we're going to recap the Bama game, plus recap the other bowl games. We got a lot to get to on this Tuesday edition of Talking Ball.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Good morning from the traffic center. We are dealing with heavy traffic load this morning, but we don't have anything on the board accident-wise. No stalls or traffic signal headaches. You be careful on your trip in this morning. Put some extra room in there so you got somewhere to go in case something does go wrong around you. The $6 big box is back at Popeyes with 2 pieces of that hand-battered Louisiana seasoned chicken, 2 sides, and a buttermilk biscuit. Popeyes, University and Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
I studied Spanish in college and never got fluent. But then I tried Babbel.
Want the most effective way to learn another language? In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons will have you learning another language in as little as 3 weeks.
Babbel gets you speaking quickly about things you actually talk about in the real world.
University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try Babbel for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Welcome back. Stan McDonald from the Stanton Law Firm. I had lunch with Lewis just recently and with a client of ours, a mutual client, and great to hear all the good things going on at the Stanton Law Firm.
Thank you, Wes. The Stanton Law Firm, as you know, we've discussed before, we're dirt lawyers. We do a lot of real estate, litigation and closing. And yes, my son Lewis McDonald enjoyed meeting you a couple of weeks ago, and a couple of your friends. He is, as you know, he's opened up a commercial closing division. So he's really helping a lot of people who are trying to close, buy, or sell on their commercial property. And you can't be in this community doing business without knowing Wes neighbors.
I don't know about that, but sure was getting to meet another McDonald and talking a little bit about his grandfather, Coach Dye, and the different things. It was a lot of fun.
Well, your listeners are really going to enjoy meeting Lewis and you in this community. And like I said, at Jacob Title or the Stanton Law Firm, we're closed business. We do some good commercial closings, residential closings. We appreciate being part of your show.
Sitting here with Mark Kent of Southern Fidelity Mortgage Group of Huntsville. Mark, do you help pre-qualify people?
We pre-qualify people all the time, Wes. As a matter of fact, I love having them coming in here because when they come in and they pre-qualify, they can leave my office knowing exactly how much they can buy and have no worries.
Mark, tell me about your rates and pricing.
Well, Wes, this is something we're really, really proud of. Long story short is, I love being able to provide the best pricing in town. Honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I lost a deal to either rate or pricing, something I'm very proud of.
So what all financing options do you have, Mark?
We do several different things. If you're purchasing a home, we can handle the purchase. If you're wanting to refinance your home, of course, rates are at the lowest they've been in the last 3 years. We do a lot of refinancing. If you're building a home, we can handle the entire process from breaking ground to the final close.
Do you sleep with your phone?
Wes, if you want to reach me, you can call me at my office phone, which is 256-562-1000. But always remember, I sleep with my cell phone at night. That number is 256-656-5936.
Are you looking for that right heating and air company to keep those winter blues away? Look no further than Talent Heating and Air. Thomas with us this morning. Thomas, locally owned, no better way to go.
That's right. We're based in Huntsville, so you know you're going to get timely service. Normally we can get to you within that day that you called.
And that number is?
It is 256-503-4490.
And you have special treats for our 97.7 ESPN The Zone listeners.
That's right. For all the listeners that mention this ad, they can get $1,000 off a unit replacement if they call in by the end of the year.
And that number again to call?
256-503-4490.
Thomas, we've given them the phone number to call, but you guys also have a website as well. Let our listeners know the website to find Talent Heating and Air.
Yeah, that website is talenthvac.com. You can schedule on that website and we can get out to your house that same day a lot of times.
All right, one more time for our listeners. It's $1,000 off.
$1,000 off to the end of the year on 15 SEER and above units.
All right, it's Talent Heating and Air, locally owned right here in Huntsville. Give them a call today. All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Happy Tuesday morning, everyone. 256-576-4977. Obviously, the first segment there dealing with everything that has gone on with Damar Hamlin. You can weigh in on that, 256-576-4977 if you want to. ESPN is doing a fantastic job of keeping everybody up to date on that. And we will do our best. If there are any updates along the way, along the show, we will do our best. But we also want to make sure we hit on everything that has gone on while we were gone and everything that's going on while we are back here in the studio, back at it again. College football, bowl games, plenty of bowl games being played. Plenty have already been played. One still left to be played.
Hey, man, congratulations, man. Your school carried the flag for the Little 10. And they didn't. It wasn't a complete unmitigated disaster. Well, it was just an evisceration of Jeff.
The Big Ten has gone 5-4.
Yes, and it's because of Iowa.
Yes,
they have a winning record.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
There you go.
Because our defense scored 2 touchdowns. Not because of the offense, but because the defense scored 2 touchdowns and a 21-0 blanket.
Now there's another debate. What's worse, Kentucky football or basketball?
Well.
It's got to be football, though. I'd still got to say football.
I would probably say
because Kentucky basketball get it going. You got to think they're going to get it going.
No, they will. But right now, which conference do you think has the best winning percentage? Every conference out there, including Group of 5, Power 5s, which conference has the best winning percentage?
I do know this. USC should not have been in the playoff, okay? If I hear Colin Cowturd and Joel Stupid Ass say that one more time, then both of them should be smacked. Are you kidding me?
To Tulane beating USC.
Tulane 46, overrated 45. Yes. Tulane 305 rushing yards, 9 yards per carry against the softest Charmin Pac-12.
32 second-half points for Tulane. They took a lead yesterday with 9 seconds remaining.
Unbelievable. I quit watching. I thought it was over. And then I turn it back. I'm like, oh, my Lord, if they score here, they win. Please win.
Caleb Williams, though, was 37 of 52, 462 yards and 5 touchdowns, a Cotton Bowl record.
Lost. Hey, camera, That's an L. That means you suck. You lost to Tulane, okay? And Tulane, Willie Fritz, great job. That's tremendous for Group of 5 football. But it goes to show you that Lincoln Riley, you can change jerseys, you can change uniforms, but you're the exact same. You're the worst 4-letter word in football. Soft.
The win for 16th-ranked Tulane was their first against an AP Top 10 team since September 17th, 1983.
There you go.
And their first major bowl win since the Sugar Bowl in 1935.
But think about this: it's the biggest turnaround in history. They went 2-10 last year, and ended up 12-2, and they beat the Trojans. They beat the USC Trojans, who, if they had won the Pac-12 championship, everybody said they were a college football playoff team. Man, Alabama would wipe the floor with their butts. Everybody can see that now. Some of these conferences stink, and that's just what it is.
So the conference that has the best winning percentage right now is the MAC.
Wow.
They went 4-2 in their 6 bowl. They had six bowl games. They went 4-2, and then the Independents went 3-2. The SEC still has one more game remaining.
Yeah.
And they are 6-5 right now with a 54% winning percentage.
They're on a run though right now because they've won, I think, 5 in a row.
The Big Ten 5-4, but everybody's going to remember the 2 disappointing college football playoff semifinal losses.
Not good enough. They both gagged. Ryan Day, another big game and another 20-penny nail up the crack of his rear end, and he couldn't finish it. Talked about being aggressive the whole game, and then when it mattered in the fourth quarter, he's over there Heimlicking. Didn't put the game in the hands of his quarterback. Wasted a down trying to run the football instead of trying to get within 40 yards or closer with the field goal. If somebody's going to run, just let Stroud keep improvising and using broken plays. You still had 2 timeouts. Why waste one of them running the football? It's so stupid. But Ryan Day chokes in every big game, so should anybody be shocked? I mean, good grief. But I will give it to TCU. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect them to beat Michigan. I did not. I thought Michigan would win the game.
TCU defense was...
The TCU defense was better than I thought. They were disruptive, and Max Duggan really impressed me. Matter of fact, if they had just put the ball in Duggan's hands and let him win the K-State game, he would have won the Heisman Trophy. You know what I'm saying? Because what he did impressed me more than what Caleb Williams did against Tulane. Who cares? He should put up big numbers against Tulane. Who cares? They're an overmatched opponent that USC couldn't even beat.
And it's funny, and I say this, Sonny Dykes could not coach his way to a win in California when he was out there in California. Could not do it. I mean, he was mediocre at best.
Somebody sent me a chart yesterday of people moving out of the West Coast and the Midwest, trying to get away from all the idiots that run this country, and that's what Sonny Dykes had to do. Get the hell out of there and get back to where you grew up.
Gets to TCU, and all of a sudden... he hadn't forgotten how to coach. He didn't forget to coach on his way out to California when he was at La Tech. Was that where he was at before California? And then goes out there.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to Floyd real fast. Good morning, Floyd.
What's up, Floyd?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good.
Doing well.
All right. I got just a couple of things that is bothering me. One is Philip. And it is a sad state when we value entertainment and sports above human life. That you are living a sad life if that's the case. And again, I want to go with, you're talking about Caleb Williams. The kid is an awesome athlete. He's got all the ability in the world, but he has no class whatsoever. This little thing with his fingernails, they play Utah, and all that kind of stuff. He and to me, if a coach lets stuff like that go, he has no class either. So Lincoln Riley falls right in the same category. But just wanted to share that this morning, especially as much as I love sports and everything. And now being a minister myself, that bothers me a great deal.
Yeah.
No question, Floyd. I totally agree with that. And Scott,
thanks for the comments.
as our resourceful producer, Bandy, did point out,
yeah,
remember, he went to SMU first before he went to TCU. But he was at Louisiana Tech.
He was La Tech.
Louisiana Tech. Then he almost ruined his career going to Cal. And then he ended up going to SMU, but he revived them, and now he's at TCU. You just have to get the hell out of there because it ruins you. So, in other words, I'm sorry, Lincoln, but Will Ferrell will come to practice, Snoop Dogg, whatever, but you're probably screwed.
So your college football playoff national championship game is set, just how everybody drew it up.
Well,
number 1, Georgia, number 3,
Lincoln.
TCU.
Lincoln, win 12 next year, get to the playoff, get eviscerated, and then when they fire my man at the Cowboys, beg Jerry to hire you since he seems to be fascinated by you. And get to the Dallas Cowboys, get to Texas, and get the hell out of there. Yeah, as soon as he gets rid of McCarthy, take the Cowboys job like everybody keeps trying to give you, because it looks like Jimmy Harbaugh is going to go to the Broncos and get the hell out of Michigan. So
that's the biggest thing. I woke up this morning to the topic of if Jim Harbaugh is offered a NFL job, he is going again.
Seems to be Denver. There's a lot of smoke out of there. So, I was just thinking about, who Michigan should hire. And to me, the guy that fits their profile is Kyle Whittingham. His style of football, physicality, being solid in special teams, being a really good coach. I know they didn't win the Rose Bowl back-to-back years, but his
Michigan
freaking
likes to hire
got hurt.
Michigan men.
I know they do, Scott. But I'm just saying.
I know.
But let me ask a question. I mean, Matt Campbell's name was coming up, but his star has dimmed at Iowa State.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who's a Michigan man they could hire? I don't see anybody. Maybe I'm unaware of it, but I don't see an obvious one out there. And to me, Whittingham has won at a place that's tougher to win than Michigan. I mean, and I don't think he's a bad fit like Rich Rod was with his style of football. I think his style of football is similar to things you see Jim Harbaugh do. And I think he would be a good fit. I've been surprised his name hasn't come up for other jobs more often because he's been at Utah like 20 years.
Yeah, they lost yesterday to Utah 35-21 to Penn State in the Rose Bowl.
They did, but they lost their quarterback. When Cam Rising went out, they were just that wasn't going to happen for them.
All right, we got to get a break in. When we come back, we will indeed continue the conversation as Travis Reier will join us. We'll recap Alabama's simply dominating, spectacular performance against Kansas State in the Sugar Bowl. Didn't look like it was going to start out that way, but boy, oh boy, once they got going.
Had to fire a couple of people.
They got going. Travis Reier joins us next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Showers and thunderstorms through Tuesday afternoon, even as we head into Tuesday evening. A couple of those thunderstorms could be on the severe end of the spectrum. We're talking about gusty winds and isolated tornadoes. Certainly can't be ruled out. That activity is associated with a cold front. Temperatures on Tuesday afternoon climbing into the upper 60s and lower 70s. On Wednesday, we are going to be a little bit cooler, but still warm when you consider the fact that it is early January. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We're still rolling along in great shape this morning. Haven't found anything accident-wise. We are with a heavy traffic load, bumper-to-bumper traffic all across the valley. Everybody's doing a great job. You be careful. Maybe we can keep it an easy one all the way through the morning. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up. You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our sports med specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
The all-new Huntsville Boat Show kicks off on Thursday, January 12th and runs through Sunday the 15th. This is your chance to shop, compare, and save thousands on the purchase of a new boat with too many brands and models to mention here. So you're just going to have to come on down and check it all out at the Huntsville Boat Show at the Vaughn Brown Center, January 12th through the 15th. The region's premier dealers and retailers will be there with the latest in watercraft. Go to HuntsvilleBoatShow.com to learn more and get tickets. That's HuntsvilleBoatShow.com. We'll see you there.
Attention, attention, may I have the camp's attention?
Your home of the college football playoffs.
Playoffs?
Is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Playoffs? Playoffs?
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. Happy Tuesday morning. And Alabama didn't look like it was going to start out that way. Kansas State jumps out 10-0. Looks like Alabama's like, oh boy, got to wake up. 11 a.m. kickoff in New Orleans. Uh-oh. And then something happened. Alabama just flipped the switch. And boy, oh boy, did they ever look impressive in that win against Kansas State.
Yeah, and now we're going to go to our next guest. He's been with us throughout, my time here at 97.7 The Zone. One of the best there is when it comes to Alabama. He's the longtime senior analyst from HamaOnline.com at 24/7 Sports since 2003. Also part of the SEC Second Helping podcast with Brent Beard, another great friend. And then, of course, Talkin Tide with Chase Goodbrother of the Tuscaloosa News, and that's Travis Schreier. Happy New Year, man. We got you, Travis?
Yes.
Hey, what's going on, man? Sorry about that. Happy New Year, buddy.
Happy New Year.
Hey, man. Your thoughts on the Alabama performance? Slow out of the gate, but they certainly put the pedal to the metal.
Yeah, I fell behind there 10-0 and looking at a 3rd and 10 from about their own 30, and Bryce makes a little pass across the middle to Jahmyr Gibbs. He goes 60 yards, and that really helped spark that 35-0 run. So good to see some of those guys like Bryce and Will Anderson, Jahmyr. It was a short stay for Jahmyr in Tuscaloosa, but an impactful one nonetheless, and able to close out a team, a top 10 team, something they had struggled to do really throughout the season. They get it done in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, that's what was impressive, I think. It's, yes, they go on the run, they get these points, but the defense is what, all of a sudden early on, Kansas State wasn't having any problems going up and down the field to get that 10-0 lead. And all of a sudden that the offense gets a touchdown, and then that just wakes up the defense. And we thought, what we saw was what we thought we would see most of the season from Alabama.
It was, and Deuce Vaughn is everything you thought he would be.
Yeah.
Even at 5'6" and 175 pounds, the guy's just a bullet. And, he hits the 88-yard touchdown run, and it's in the defense's lap again, as you said, because they were coming off a poor performance in the Iron Bowl. It was overshadowed by a couple of takeaways and fortunate takeaways in that game, and Bryce and the offense making Auburn pay for 4 quarters. But after that run, I think Deuce Vaughn's final 14 carries covered 28 yards. So a very committed effort to not letting him beat them. In that situation, you have to make Will Howard the quarterback for K-State, and even though Malik Knowles is a really good player on the outside, you got to make K-State beat you from the pocket. And I think Knowles had 1 catch for 6 yards. So credit guys like Kool-Aid McKinstry in the secondary. Certainly Brian Branch was tremendous at the star position, and good to see Jordan Battle go out with an interception because we hadn't seen him make many plays on the ball throughout the season. But they end up +2 in turnover margin, which was huge because K-State came into the game +14 for the season, and Alabama had struggled in that regard. So Alabama able to flip the script in more than a couple ways in the win.
And we just had Pat from Tuscaloosa talk about Brian Branch and creating value for himself. I think he was already on the rise, but that last impression certainly could go a long way. He looks like a first-rounder, Travis.
He does, and it's a position of value in today's NFL. It's kind of changed places with the running back position. You almost feel for Jahmyr Gibbs because 15 years ago, I think there would be no question this guy's a first-round pick, and he still might be. But there's just not the value at running back as there is even at safety these days. And, Brian's not just a safety. This is a guy that can drop down into the slot, maybe play corner if needed, but primarily being able to handle some of those roles like we've seen Minkah Fitzpatrick and some of the guys before him. You see what type of future he might be headed for in the National Football League.
Well, to me, I even said, I made the comparison, Travis, maybe Mark Barron with better ball skills.
Yeah, and Mark was a little bit bigger, but yeah, no doubt. A lot of the same roles. Mark played some star, Mark played some dime, certainly played safety. So, I think Brian is a guy that NFL teams are really going to like and really helped himself over the second half of the season. He was good throughout the 2022 campaign, but the finish was certainly there.
Yeah, and no surprise yesterday, though, seeing Will Anderson, Gibbs, and Bryce Young head to the NFL.
Then Branch after, yeah.
Yeah, those were probably the least shocking developments of the last month, behind the fact that those guys actually played in the bowl game. So if you're an Alabama fan, you're extremely thankful you had them for one more game and the win over Kansas State. And you wish them the best because you figure those are four guys. Obviously, Bryce and Will aren't probably getting out of the top 5 picks, but even Branch and Jahmyr have a chance to be first-round guys as well.
Yeah, they really do. And then you saw some young players make an impression. He was held out within a black jersey for much of the prep, but I thought for the second straight game, Deontay Lawson was strong in the place of Jalen Moody. You talk about Kool-Aid McKinstry, and now it's going to be interesting to see the decision we have from Eli Ricks later today.
Yeah, that will be something to keep an eye on because, at least going into the offseason, you'd love to have 2 starting caliber corners. Now, I think Kool-Aid's an all-SEC caliber type corner, maybe even preseason All-American after what we saw against Kansas State. But Eli is still a work in progress.
Yeah.
So he could absolutely use more time at the college level. I'm not sure he's going to heed that advice, but he is a guy just in terms of physical attributes. He's exactly what the NFL looks for. I think the concern for Eli is going to be if he comes out, what's he going to run? Is he a 4-5 or is he even a 4-6? So he's going to have to answer that question. But he's got the length, he's got the size. Just in terms of man coverage, he's able to do some good things in press. But I think there are some questions again about his speed, and then also is he scheme dependent, right? Can he play in a zone scheme and hang in and not bust and do things like that? That's some of the things still in front of Eli Ricks.
Yeah, and today at 1, we think we know
he's
that's
going to announce what's going to happen. I just think he could create a lot of value for himself coming back, Travis.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about it because, again, I think he still is going to be considered extremely raw. And I know you think, well, this is a guy you take in the later rounds, and if you need to, you practice squat him, and you go from there. But the problem with that is the late round guys also get cut.
Yes.
So I'm sure Eli's supremely confident, and this also goes back to even the preseason and what these guys are trying to process and what the people around them are maybe trying to process as well. When you see them on these top 10 in the first round list back in August, right? The early mocks, and you're thinking, wow, that's high for a guy who hadn't played a lot of football and really hadn't even won a job at Alabama yet. So they get hit with a lot of different things, but it's really the word from the NFL that matters. That's all that matters. The mocks, all those things don't mean a thing. So if the NFL gives you a return to school grade, they're telling you to go back to school. So we'll see if that's the grade, first of all, that maybe Eli got. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he got a come out grade, and if he did, then best of luck to him.
Yeah, I know Alabama fans are paying attention on who's staying, who's going to the NFL, who might enter the transfer portal, because we still have to watch out for that in the next coming months. But it's also the coaches. Who's going to be back next year? Who's not going to be back next year?
Yeah, well, we know for sure Charles Kelly's moving on to Colorado. But beyond that, it will be interesting to kind of get a feel for how things are going to shake out with this staff. I think, we may have to get even beyond the upcoming weekend with the NFL perhaps and see how that shakes out. Maybe it'll start to shake out before that. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't see it going to the late signing period, but beyond the late signing period, maybe it could. But we kind of have an idea of the guys that you would think are sort of prime targets for some other places. And if it comes down to it, and it typically does, even after national championship seasons, right? You have movement on the staff. So definitely won't be surprised if you have some beyond Charles Kelly after this kind of season.
And then did Bryce Young, the impression he made, does he make a strong case for being the number one pick?
I don't know how he didn't. I know C.J. Stroud did some really nice things against Georgia. I kind of anticipated that, though, because Georgia's back end is still an issue for the Dogs. It looks like they're going to survive it for a second straight season. But, as long as Marvin Harrison was on the field Saturday night, it was going to be a problem for Georgia. And even with him out, it was still a little bit of a problem. So I think it was a good night for C.J. Stroud. But as a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, I hope the Texans take C.J. Stroud and don't take Bryce Young. I kind of hope that in a couple different ways. I hope it for Bryce. He might end up in a better situation. And then I certainly would rather see, no knock on C.J. Stroud, nice quarterback. But for me, it's pretty easy choice if you're talking about Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. The anticipation, the accuracy, the competitor, the temperament, just everything. I know you're going to look at the size, and he's going to get knocked for that. Meanwhile, you got guys like Kyler Murray signing $150 million extensions at 5'8". And I would take Bryce over, and it stinks for Kyler Murray that he got hurt, but a healthy Kyler Murray or a Bryce Young to build your franchise with right now, I think I know which way I'd go.
And finally, your thoughts on Alabama Ole Miss tonight, basketball, a home game for Alabama, a big week for Alabama, 2 games at home, Ole Miss and then Kentucky.
Yeah, it is, and that's the challenge maybe for Nate tonight is to keep the focus on an Ole Miss team that has lost, I think, 5 of its last 7. Mm-hmm. So, only playing in a true road game for the second time this season. So, it's an opportunity to get to 2-0 in the league. It's a game Alabama should win, and in most instances, it's a game of styles because Ole Miss definitely would like to keep this game, I think, more in the 60s. Problem with that is Alabama at home this season is averaging right around 88 points per game. So if the Crimson Tide gets it well into the 70s, it should win pretty easily. It should be a rested Alabama team. And we'll see what happens at Coleman Coliseum later tonight.
We certainly will. Well, Travis Reier, great stuff as always. Let everybody know how to follow your coverage tonight and connect with BamaOnline.com.
Just go to BamaOnline.com or Alabama.247sports.com. Either way will get you to us.
Thank you, brother. Travis. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Travis Reier there. Good stuff. Good stuff with Travis. Good stuff on the Alabama bowl game.
Especially the NFL stuff, too, kind of talking about where these guys may project.
Interesting. All right, let's break all that down. We'll recap that, plus recap some more bowl talk as well. We got to recap the semifinal games, what we saw and who saw it, coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Still working with a clean slate this morning. Traffic moving along nicely. Heavy traffic load all across the valley, but I'm not seeing any wrecks or stalls or traffic signal problems. You be careful on that trip in. Do your methods to lose weight no longer work for you? 7 different hormones can make it impossible for you to lose weight. Find out more with a free hormone quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Rambo Marine in Hazel Green is your one-stop shop for all things boating. Whether you are ready to surf with the newest Malibu wake boat or cruise on a Cobalt or Barletta pontoon, we have a boat ready for you and your family. Rambo Marine provides exceptional service second to none, so that you are ready to hit the water in no time. Stop by Rambo Marine today. We know boats.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. And the college football playoff semifinals are in the books, and a lot of people paid attention to the college football semifinal games. Number 1, Georgia, and number 4, Ohio State, averaged 22.1 million viewers. It peaked at 23.9 at 8:45 to 9 o'clock. The Fiesta Bowl game between number 2 Michigan and number 3 TCU averaged 21.4 million viewers. It peaked at 26.4 at 6:45 to 7 o'clock. Together, they averaged 21.7 million viewers, up 28% from last year, and the highest since 2018. They were the most watched semifinals in 5 years, became the most viewed on non-New Year's Day semifinals of the college football playoffs, which started in 2014.
There's no question. I mean, it was the 2 best semifinals we've had, and I did say on this show that I thought they would be 2 good games. I picked 31-23 Michigan. I flunked that one. And then I did pick Georgia 38-28, and I got that one right just barely. But they were two extremely good football games. I mean, I've said it before earlier in the hour. I thought that, Ryan Day did what Ryan Day does. He choked. He had his team in position, and then he lost his nerve and didn't handle the end of the game correctly. He Lane Kiffined it, which Lane did that in 2009 against Alabama for Tennessee. After the seam pass to Luke Stocker, he decided to just run the ball up the middle and put the ball in the hands of his kicker instead of staying aggressive. And I thought Ryan Day did the same thing,
Right.
And then with Harbaugh, I know there were some things about the play at the goal line, landing on his rear end. Looked like I thought it was a touchdown, but they're at the 1 yard line. Why are you handing it to the fullback anyway? Just sneak it, or just give it to the tailback, the guy that's used to carrying the football. But really, you just sneak it to me. You just rub to the line of scrimmage and you sneak it, or you do what TCU did in short yardage situations. You put the freaking tight end in motion, and he pushes the quarterback for the first down.
No,
come on.
That's old school football. Targeting on Marvin Harrison Jr. Yes or no?
And let me say something else too. At the end of that,
I didn't think so either.
At the end of that Michigan TCU game. I'm glad they didn't call targeting. You don't decide the flipping game on a targeting call. It was way too close. It could have been yes, could it have been no. You don't decide it on some stupid play like that and give them another chance to win the game on a stupid. They need to revamp targeting anyway, and what it is and what it isn't. But that's the same officiating crew that screwed up Alabama-Tennessee game. But in their defense, at least in this case, they got that one. I thought they handled that correctly. Because that could have decided the game on some stupid freak, broken play, and they called targeting. Would have given a first down.
Yeah, and the game would have had, I believe, 28 seconds or 30 seconds to continue the drive.
And it was Michigan's fault. They botched the snap again. Look, they couldn't get out of their own way. The refs didn't cost them the game. Michigan cost themselves the game. And now it looks like Jimmy's going to get the hell out and go to Denver. So we'll see what happens. Maybe not. Maybe he stays, like he flirted heavily with Minnesota last year. But it looks like Denver may be more attractive to him. We'll see what happens with that situation.
What did Stetson Bennett show you at all?
That he's a great college quarterback. Look, man, I've doubted him.
Yeah.
I've said that he came up short in some big games, but he's redefined the end of his career. I had people messaging me during the game saying, "Well, he'll still never play a down in the NFL." And that doesn't matter. Who can talk about? Stroud will be a first round pick. Does that matter? It doesn't matter. What Stetson Bennett is a winner, and it has no bearing on what kind of college career he's had. Scott, he's one game away. And even if he doesn't win that game, he won one national championship. But especially if he wins this next one, I'm just guaranteeing you something. Now, I think you'll get a shot, especially if they win it again in the NFL, because, look, the hype situation is no longer a big factor in pro football. Look at Brock Purdy now. Look at what Drew Brees did. Look at Bryce Young potentially being the first pick. And I'm not saying he's going in the first 3 rounds. I'm just saying on the third day, somebody could give, Stetson Bennett a shot. But even if he doesn't play a down in the NFL, and that could easily happen, he will never have to pay his mortgage. He will never have to buy dinner. He will never have to buy a drink ever again in the state of Georgia if he wins back-to-back championships. And he can start the Bennett and Ballou show, and I'm already starting a campaign for it here and in the state of Georgia. And hell, they have sponsors just falling all over themselves sponsoring it.
Yeah.
He will never have to hardly work again a day in his life.
Yeah.
He will have the cushiest jobs non-football wise ever. Come on. And then they'll make a movie about what he did, because how many 5 stars has he beat out?
Yeah. Well, he beat out a Heisman Trophy winner too.
Oh my! Don't even start with that. He's a Rice Owl, for crying out loud. A Rice Owl, because he stinks. And I just knocked my drink over, and luckily it had a top on it. But the guy stinks. At least, the guy could not handle SEC Media Day because he got unnerved.
Yeah. But the concern, here's my concerning thing for Georgia.
Yeah.
LSU torched that defense in the SEC championship game. Ohio State.
You just heard Travis say it.
Ohio State got the best of that Georgia defense through the air. I mean, C.J. Stroud, that if it wasn't for some calls that Ryan Day made, some head scratchers there, give Kirby Smart credit for calling timeout on the fake punt
on the fake punt. Yeah, he learned. He learned. He learned. He didn't telegraph his own, but he learned. He saw the key right there, and he learned from his mistakes. I got to give Kirby credit for that.
What does that Georgia defense have to do, though, to tighten up, to prepare for a TCU passing attack?
That's a great question. Because I didn't think TCU would move the ball on the Great Wall of Michigan, because that's all I heard was it was the Great Wall of Michigan. They were some great defense, and they got shredded. So, I'll be here's the deal. You got a national championship game of two quarterbacks that have been doubted their whole careers. You look at Max Duggan. He didn't even start the season as starting quarterback. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, it was just like, wow. So he wasn't even the starter. Stetson, remember, last year wasn't the starter.
Chandler Morris was the quarterback.
I think
for
that's
TCU
Chad Morris's
year.
son, Chandler Morris from Oklahoma. He was the starter. He got hurt, and then Duggan, who'd been injured throughout his career, has had a great season as a senior. And then you look at Stetson. Last year he wasn't the starting quarterback. The great J.T. Daniels. Hell, after they lost to Alabama in the SEC championship game, Georgia fans wanted that overrated piece of trash to start in the playoff.
No, they did.
And sorry, that's what he is. He's one of the most overrated quarterbacks in history. This dude started at USC, early enrolled, reclassified, and ended up at Rice. For crying out loud. He's going to be playing in front of two people and a dog and a cat at Rice.
He ended up at Rice via West Virginia, via Georgia,
Rice.
via USC.
I mean, can they afford a six-figure NIL deal and a personal chef? Are you kidding me? In a house?
It's a private school.
I
can afford it.
Good grief.
It's private.
They'll have bigger crowds at the Havoc game and at the Trash Pandas than they will at Rice. You know they will. But, hey, at least you won't get unnerved because you'll be able to hear yourself when you talk because, it'll echo throughout the stadium. Wow.
I was trying to see. The Owls' attendance has generally stayed between 10 and 15,000.
That's exactly my point.
Well, that was in 2009. I can't imagine it getting better.
Ken Hatfield ain't walking through that door. I'm just saying, I don't even know who the hell the coach is at Rice, to be honest with you. But I know Hatfield ended up there at one point.
I don't know. I don't know much.
Andy, who's the coach at Rice?
I don't know much about Rice.
I don't know much, except they're the Owls. That's all I know. And they did have a great baseball program at one time and won a national championship. So
it looks like Mike Bloomgren.
Bloomgren?
Bloomgren is the head coach.
Well, they're good at baseball. That's about all they're good at.
All right, well, he's returning for his 2022 season. Yeah, I don't know why we're spending a lot of time on Rice. But
that's just because that's where the great JT Daniels ended up.
In 5 seasons, he's led them to a 16-38 record.
Well, 16-38. Look forward to that supporting cast.
That's why they average a lot of people.
If you thought West Virginia was hard, get ready for this, brother. Ain't going to be burning any couches in Rice. Lord. There'll be more people at the baseball games than there'll be in this football program.
Well, we do got a college football national, and one of his former teams is playing in the college football national championship for the second straight year.
Hell, he may have visited TCU last year for all I know. Thank goodness they didn't sign him.
Oh, what does the win mean for Kirby Smart if he's able to get 2 in a row? What does it mean for TCU? What does it mean for the college football playoffs to have TCU in the championship game? Chuck Oliver breaks it all down for us coming up next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
It's third-ranked TCU and top-ranked Georgia for the CFP National Championship game Monday night in Inglewood. The Bulldogs trying to be the first repeat national champion since the BCS era when Alabama won back-to-back titles in 2011 and 2012. The Horned Frogs beat Michigan as a 7.5-point underdog. They're a 13-point underdog on Monday. The over-under at 62. College hoops tonight, number 7 Alabama at home against Ole Miss. The Crimson Tide playing their home conference opener after winning on the road against Mississippi State last week. Alabama minus 12.5 against the Rebels tonight.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It's hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We invite you to head to your app store or marketplace. Download the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app today so you can have 97.7 ESPN The Zone with you wherever you go, 24/7. The home for Alabama Athletics, UAH Athletics, Huntsville Havoc, and much, much more. It's 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We were talking about the college football playoffs. We talked about who was watching them across the nation, and they were one of the most watched. Yeah, apparently everybody was watching. I even watched them. No surprise there. But anyway, Georgia headed to the national championship game, second straight year for the Bulldogs. Kirby Smart can win another national championship. The surprise, the Cinderella, we finally got March Madness a little bit in the college football playoffs with TCU getting the better of Michigan in that Fiesta Bowl.
And we're going to talk about all of that with our next guest, and they call him the king of college football, and you can hear him here every day from 10 to noon on ESPN 97.7 The Zone, and that is the Chuck Oliver Show. I'm honored to be a part of that, and I'm honored to say Happy New Year to our next guest, Chuck Oliver. Chuck, welcome back, man. What's going on this morning? What's going on, Chuck? We got you?
Chuck, we got you? We can hear him. He just can't hear us, I don't think. There we go. Chuck, you got...
We got you, Chuck.
All right, we'll go ahead and try to reconnect here with Chuck Oliver. But I imagine he is going to say that they were probably one of the most entertaining, and they definitely were. They kept us on the edge of the seat. The first time we did not have blowouts in these college football semifinals.
Yeah, I mean, it was two tremendous football games that kept you on the seat of your, on the edge of your seat the entire game. And I thought it was tremendous for college football. Certainly, I thought Alabama made a statement in their blowout of Kansas State. But again, there's not a whole lot you can say. Alabama, they held their fate in their own hands, and they did not get a win, and did not beat LSU, did not beat Tennessee. LSU and Tennessee were both very impressive in their bowl performances and certainly helped out the Southeastern Conference. But it's been the best Final Four that we've had, certainly in the college football playoff. And it was a tremendous win for Georgia. You could argue right up there with his national championship win for Kirby. Of course, it doesn't mean as much as winning a national championship, but he certainly put himself in position now to repeat. And then what Sonny Dykes has done all year and being National Coach of the Year has been tremendous. But I think we do have now the host of the Chuck Oliver Show. Happy New Year to Chuck Oliver. Chuck, do we have you? What's up, man? We got you, Chuck.
I'm here.
Oh, what's up, man? There you go. Sorry about the technical difficulty there, Chuck. What's up? What a great weekend of college football we had, man. The two best semifinals, the best college football playoff we've seen thus far.
Yeah, it really was, and the numbers support that in every way, and even, I guess, numerically, the biggest upset. You also had a program, Ohio State, representing at the height of its brand, if not necessarily the greatest Buckeyes team ever. They're not DBU or even in that conversation anymore. I mean, it's been like 5 minutes since Jeff Okudah left.
Yeah.
And they had the Shaun Wade thing that wasn't as good as it was supposed to be, and then this year. So that's not a typical Ohio State team on defense, and especially the secondary. But, yeah, it played at its absolute best it could, and we all won as fans.
Yeah, we certainly did. And what was your thought on Sonny Dykes and TCU? You just talked. Scott kind of equated it to our first upset and our first Cinderella story, but
I think that's what it would be.
Because I mean, they were a significant underdog. They lost the Big 12 championship game, so they didn't back into the playoff, but they almost. You could say they almost did. There were some people that doubted them, but they certainly silenced a lot of people with their performance against the Wolverines.
Yeah, the 14 Ohio State team, wasn't that a 4 seed that didn't win a conference title?
That's correct.
We would we'd never dream of assigning them, oh, no, Ohio State, they can't be a giant underdog. Whereas the numbers line up, I think they were a 7.5-point favorite against the Tide in New Orleans. But it's just a different brand. We know what it is. It's been different for 120 years. Here's the biggest thing that, and I'm going to talk about this later on the show today, no one associated with the TCU program in any way, players, coaches, longtime administrators, fan base, there's nobody associated with the Frogs who views this as a underdog, we're out there and we're the little engine that could. They look around, I promise you, anyone with an interest in that program views this as, hey, we've been just as good the past 20 years as Georgia has, minus the national title last year. Conference championships, undefeated seasons, Power 5. They've been to Rose Bowls. They've been to Fiesta Bowls. They've done just as much, minus the title game. That's how they're looking at it. I promise you, this is not an underdog or an upset or anything else. TCU folks look around going, what are y'all talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you look at TCU as a program, you know, Gary Patterson had that program going in the right direction, got him really to kind of an elevated status, but just couldn't get it over the hump. Then they decide to make a change. Do you think there's some other programs in the country that are looking at what TCU did and said, okay, maybe we are a little stagnant. Maybe we can do something like a TCU?
I think that the programs were already there maybe over the last 10 or so years, 15 years. I don't know. When North Carolina fired Tom Bunning with like a month left in the season, I was like, okay, there are no sacred cows now. And that sort of was like a mark in time. So I think they're already willing to do that. Here's the big difference to me. Y'all remember, wasn't it like the Rams and the Ravens? There were back-to-back NFL seasons where the previous season a team was either 500 or below, and then they won the Super Bowl. I was like, yeah, that's a great story. That's about to get a bunch of head coaches fired. That's the same thing here. And it's the new coaches that was not the outgoing coach that we now will be bold enough to fire. It's the incoming coach that we just hired. They were like, my gosh, TCU isn't even in the Big Ten or the SEC, and Sonny Dykes was able to do it. Let's get hopping.
Yeah, and again, it's going to be interesting. And it also harkens back to the job Gary Patterson did. I know it had kind of plateaued, and that's why he stepped away. He's now at Texas, but he certainly did a great job in the 20-plus years and left a lot of good players for Sonny Dykes. And it's amazing how Sonny has reignited his career. Scott made this point. It was kind of flatlining when he went to Cal Berkeley in the Pac-12. He goes to SMU, gets them rolling, and after Chad Morris had left for Arkansas, and now so quickly gets TCU back to the playoff. I mean, Gary Patterson made some runs and got to a Rose Bowl, but now TCU's playing for it all. And your thoughts on that matchup with Georgia?
They can win. I don't think they're going to, but they can. And part of it is, I mean, they've got a Heisman finalist at quarterback. All right, so does Georgia. It's a little different. I mean, TCU puts a lot more on Duggan. Quentin Johnston, he's healthy, by the way, and when he's on the field, when TCU has the ball, Quentin Johnston is the best player out of the remaining 21. You always take the quarterback out because the impact is just too great. Beyond Max Duggan, Quentin Johnston's the best player out there. That means, okay, we've got an advantage. We got a matchup we can win. Their offensive line, monstrously huge, and they can beat on Georgia's defensive front. Maybe. I say all that Georgia could win this thing by 4 touchdowns if they play their A game, which, by the way, last Saturday against Ohio State, great game. Nothing you take away from the Buckeyes. Georgia wasn't close to their A game. Against LSU, Georgia wasn't close to their A game. They've got issues in the secondary that they will, I expect, shore up maybe, but that's a heck of a passing game and like 5 monster receivers, big dudes on the outside to say, all right, well, let's go see if we fix some issues. TCU can win this game, but the big takeaway for me in Atlanta on Saturday was Georgia didn't play anywhere close to their capabilities, and if they do, this won't be close on Monday night.
Yeah. What does Georgia do in that secondary? What do they do in this short time to fix what's kind of ailing them? Because LSU took it apart and Ohio State took it apart.
Yeah, and Malachi Starks is a guy who literally from the opener against Oregon, I said, that kid's about to make a lot of money. He's a safety with legit corner skills, and he was fabulous all season long. And then against LSU, I was like, I think I just saw an 18-year-old hit that wall, that 12-game SEC wall, because he was not good. In fact, he was so not good, he made Keely Ringo look not good on one play against LSU. And so I think that they relied on younger players some and players without a lot of experience, and those can be different things. I think that they hit a little bit of a wall. What surprised me was after a 30-day layoff that it at least wasn't a better representation. Now, you're going against, C.J. Stroud and an NFL receiver corps. But I was surprised you didn't represent a little bit more in the secondary. And you got to fix that before Monday.
And then what about Stetson Bennett? He's been undervalued his whole career. But you could just sort of see it. 2:36 on the clock, Chuck. Georgia was going to have to score a touchdown. I was not shocked at all at what he did. I've doubted him throughout his career. You and I talked about it even last year in December in Atlanta when he threw the pick six to Jordan Battle. There were people calling for J.T. Daniels. But talk about him and what he continues to do for Georgia.
He has good numbers. And see, so that's the thing I'm going to put on the shelf first before I say this next part. Y'all know this. Quarterback play, numbers are indicators. I don't need numbers. I need a guy who makes plays.
Right.
I remember Tim Couch. If you go look at Tim Couch when he was with the Browns in the NFL, he's got pretty good numbers. Y'all watched him. He never made plays. It's just there are 1,000 examples you can come up with. Stetson makes plays. And they not only won the national championship last year, they won that roster, 4 stars, 5 stars. They won in large part because of, not with Stetson, because of Stetson. And Saturday, again, same sort of thing. They won in large part because of their quarterback. He's not just along for the ride, despite being, 5'11" and whatever he weighs. And he says, maybe I'm just ugly. Maybe people don't like me because I'm not pretty. And he said that last week. That's a quote. So I love watching him play.
I can understand it. We're talking to Chuck Oliver. Last question for you, Chuck. And, of course, you can hear him later today from 10 to noon here on ESPN 97.7 The Zone, the Chuck Oliver Show. Bryce Young, his last chapter, it was a great one. How big a case do you think he made to be the first pick?
I don't know what he doesn't do. And he's the perfect quarterback for me because and I've always said this is a big difference too. I want a mobile quarterback, not a running quarterback. I want a quarterback who can move, not one who actually crosses the line of scrimmage a whole lot. I love me Bryce Young, and he's so smart. And by the way, I don't want anybody to lose sight of the big picture here. Alabama did not do a super-duper job of protecting him in large parts last year or this season. He didn't always have a consistent ground game behind him. And I think at the very least we can all agree he wasn't certain who the ground game would be behind him a lot of Saturdays. The receiver corps the past 2 years, Drew, what's the story? Nobody developed. Put that against the backdrop of what Bryce Young did. My gosh, yeah, I'll take you first overall.
No doubt. Well, Chuck, we look forward to the show here in just a few minutes, but we thank you for the time and always appreciate it. Thank you for your takes, and Happy New Year to you, brother.
Same to y'all. See you, Scott.
Thanks, Chuck. All right, Chuck Oliver there. Good stuff.
Yep.
Good stuff about that college football. Let's break it all down. We'll break that down, plus talk some more college football. We got some NFL football. We got all kinds of stuff to get to, plus your phone calls, 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Good morning. I'm not seeing anything accident-wise this morning. Traffic running along nicely, very heavy traffic load, and it looks like we're going to have a lot of folks in the last-minute dash mode, though, so you be careful as you make the rest of your way into work. No hose, no mask. You could ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Sitting here with Mark Kent of Southern Fidelity Mortgage Group of Huntsville. Mark, do you help pre-qualify people?
We pre-qualify people all the time, Wes. As a matter of fact, I love having them coming in here because when they come in and they pre-qualify, they can leave my office knowing exactly how much they can buy and have no worries.
Mark, tell me about your rates and pricing.
Well, Wes, this is something we're really, really proud of. Long story short is, I love being able to provide the best pricing in town. Honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I lost a deal to either rate or pricing, something I'm very proud of.
So what all financing options do you have, Mark?
We do several different things. If you're purchasing a home, we can handle the purchase. If you're wanting to refinance your home, of course, rates are at the lowest they've been in the last 3 years. We do a lot of refinancing. If you're building a home, we can handle the entire process from breaking ground to the final close.
Do you sleep with your phone?
Wes, if you want to reach me, you can call me at my office phone, which is 256-562-1000. But always remember, I sleep with my cell phone at night. That number is 256-656-5936.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. And if you were looking for a feel-good moment from the bowl season, that was provided yesterday by Mississippi State.
Oh, yeah.
As they got a 19-10 win over Illinois in what was the Outback Bowl, which was now the ReliQuest Bowl. But it was only fitting, and it didn't dawn on me until yesterday that I saw some of the previews that this was played in Tampa Bay's stadium where the pirate ship was.
That's what they've been talking about. And
so
you saw the logo they put on the helmets, and then everybody that took Mississippi State in the points, they were really happy when Marcus Banks ran back the lateral for a touchdown on the last play. So Mississippi State covered 19-10. It was apropos, and it was really interesting, watching the emotion of Will Rogers, who was as soon as they kicked the field goal that kind of sealed the game late.
He was with him for 3 years.
Oh,
he was with Mike
all
Leach for 3
were.
years.
All the guys that played in the game were, wanted to win the game for Mike Leach. Everybody wanted to see Mississippi State win that game, and even Bert Bielema, that I call him. I always call him Bert.
Bert.
But they were good friends. I mean, he has a place down in the Keys. He and Mike Leach were good friends.
Yeah.
And so, it's just one of those things, man. It was a great moment for Mississippi State to go out like that. And now it's going to be fascinating to see where they go as a program from here. But, it was so sad to lose Coach Leach. I mean, look, we were talking about DeMar Hamlin all this morning, and we're just hoping and praying for him. Look, we lost Mike Leach to much of the same thing. It wasn't on the football field, but he had a heart situation in his home. And so you just never know. Life is very precious, and we never would have thought that Mike Leach would be gone, but he is. But it was great to see Mississippi State win that game and beat the Little 10.
And then you have LSU dismantling Purdue 60. Purdue didn't have Jeff Brom. They were in a coaching change.
I don't even know who they even had
Drew Brees was an offensive coordinator,
just for
assistant.
a game, whatever. He was a
was.
consultant, whatever for a game.
Yeah, but LSU.
It was bad.
14-21, 14-14, en route to a 63-7 victory.
And that's a team that was in the Big Ten championship game for everybody to know that.
Yeah, Purdue did not care in that one, I don't think.
I didn't look like it.
All right, Bob, the Georgia dog, with us this morning. Good morning, Bob.
Morning, Bob.
Hey, what's up, fellas? How we doing?
We're doing good,
man.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
Year to you.
Yep.
Man, I really enjoyed the bowl season. There was some good games out there. There was some nail biters. The dogs made me sick. I couldn't believe it. I'd given up on them, and we got by the skin of our teeth. We got lucky, but we'll take it. And then last time I called y'all was when Mike Leach passed away.
Right.
And then last night I'm watching Monday Night Football, and that awful hit with their safety. It wasn't even that hard of a hit, but just what happened, everything that transpired after was just horrible.
Yeah.
So hopefully in the new year we won't see any of that going forward. But heck of a bowl season. I love seeing Mississippi State win. Bama looked good. They started slow, and then they looked real good. I think Bryce Young's got to be the number one pick. I don't see how he's not. C.J. Stroud should be the second quarterback taken. He looked really good against Georgia, and I don't know. It was a good bowl season, and so I'll give you my thoughts on TCU real quick.
Yeah.
I think Duggan is a good quarterback. I think he's going to be an NFL quarterback, and he has some decent playmakers around him. Georgia has problems in their secondary. Everybody knows that. Keely Ringo, 1 minute will be outstanding. The next, he's getting burned for a 70-yard touchdown. So you never know what's going to happen there. But I think their offensive line, I think Jalen Carter and some of those guys that Georgia has are just going to – if they can get pressure on Duggan, then it's going to be a long day for TCU.
Yeah,
they could not get pressure. They could not get pressure on C.J. Stroud.
That's where I was going to go, yeah. They had a hard time getting to him, and he was able to make plays. Now, I credit C.J. Stroud. We knock on C.J. Stroud all the time because he has not lived up to expectations a lot in big moments. He has in other moments.
Well, I'll just say
but
this.
He delivered, for the most part, he delivered in that game against Georgia.
Absolutely.
He did, and Chuck Oliver pointed out, don't discount the TCU O-line. They handled Michigan. And Michigan, their defensive numbers were really, really good coming into that game, and they got exposed because TCU. Look, people forget TCU lost their lead running back more than before halftime, and the backup went for 150. So they've got some really good skill guys. As Chuck said, just watch number one. He's the best player on the field. He's going to be a top 10 pick at wide receiver. So do I think they can beat Georgia? Yes. Do I think they will? No. But I didn't think they would beat Michigan. So we could be in for another treat in a really good national championship game, which is not something I was anticipating when the college football playoff started.
Me either. And I didn't watch TCU all season. I saw them get their butts kicked by K-State, and I thought, oh, man, these guys are garbage. They shouldn't be in the playoff. Bama should be in over them. We'll see. I think it's going to be a good game. It's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be a good game. I mean, and TCU can win. 100% they can win. And Georgia, they got to get healthy, man. They lost one of the tight ends.
Yeah.
Washington.
Yeah, Washington went out early, yeah.
Yeah. So and they got a lot of guys banged up. They had 2 true freshmen playing defense, 2 or 3 against Ohio State just because of injuries. And so they've got some guys. It's a long 14 games, you know.
Yep.
It's like, geez, they're going to get banged up. And then last thing I'll leave you with this is I think a guy that's going to surprise some folks in the draft, and people don't really value running backs anymore. There's 2 running backs I'll mention. Obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs is outstanding. He reminds me of Alvin Kamara. I think he'll be, depending on his combine, he'll probably go late first, early second round. The other guy is Kenny McIntosh.
Oh, yeah. I love
Georgia.
that guy.
He's a heck of a receiver. You know, the sniper got him on that long run he had against Ohio State.
Yes.
Turf monster. But when you look at his numbers, what he's done this season at Georgia, I mean, he has lit it up. And I think, you know, he might be a second or third round pick, but whoever picks him up and he's going to play in the Senior Bowl, which I think is cool. He's not scared to go and try to build value for himself, even more so in the Senior Bowl. I think somebody who's going to pick him up is going to get a heck of a player. He's really good.
Yeah, well, the Dolphins could use one of the 2. I can tell you that, one of them.
All right, Bob, thanks for the phone call.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.
We got to get a short break in here real fast. When we come back, I know the phone lines are busy, but we will get to everyone on the phone lines as soon as we get back from this short break.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Showers and thunderstorms through Tuesday afternoon, even as we head into Tuesday evening. A couple of those thunderstorms could be on the severe end of the spectrum. We're talking about gusty winds and isolated tornadoes. Certainly can't be ruled out. That activity is associated with a cold front. Temperatures on Tuesday afternoon climbing into the upper 60s and lower 70s. On Wednesday, we are going to be a little bit cooler, but still warm when you consider the fact that it is early January. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Still looking for accidents this morning. We're just not finding any. It's been an extremely smooth morning. You be careful on the rest of your trip in. We got a lot of folks in last-minute dash mode. Right now, though, it looks good. I don't see anything to report. The $6 big box is back at Popeyes with 2 pieces of that hand-battered Louisiana seasoned chicken, 2 sides, and a buttermilk biscuit. Popeyes University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Football season is here, and as always, the best place to catch every game is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill. Humphreys is celebrating by bringing back their game day football specials. $2.75 Miller Lite, Coors Light, Yingling, and $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold Pints. $4 Fireball shots. Anytime football is on. And don't forget football trivia every Sunday night at 6. The best place to catch all the games all season long is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan@danaldridgelaw.com. dan@danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Hold your block until the whistle blows. From SEC Media Days to the National Championship Game.
This was a great team win.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. And what was that? Let's go out to the phone lines real fast right out of the break. Brandon holding for us this morning. Good morning, Brandon.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Well, I see those Iowa Hawkeyes winning there, and they handled their business.
Yes,
and I haven't
they
laughed
did.
so hard in a long time.
They did. Just like Alabama fans want their offensive coordinator gone, we want ours gone. We want him gone.
We're riding down the road in the car, and my wife said, "What game is this?" And I was glancing at the screen, and I said, I called it the Transphobic Bowl. And she looked at me, and she said, "What?" And we were looking, and I said, "No, it's the, like, TransUnion something." I was like, "I don't know." I was like, they come up with all these stupid names. I said, at this point, it ought to be the Krispy Kreme Bowl because everybody on Kentucky got a donut.
Well, it was actually the Beat Jeff in the Burrow Bowl was what it was.
There you go.
So we took care of that, 21-0. I mean, look, Missouri did their part on the basketball court and drubbed Kentucky.
Kobe Brown had 30.
Yeah, and then Iowa just added salt to the misery. I don't know how Kentucky handled it.
Oh, well, no, I mean, I looked at the box score and stuff.
Did they beat Louisville?
No, I'm just talking about the football game. I mean, Rodriguez didn't play. Will Levis didn't play. I mean, Kentucky, I mean, it looked like all their difference makers opted out, man. They didn't have all their guys. It was just like, it's like, dang. I mean, it's just, and you know, Iowa, they got their starting quarterback is out of the portal. I'm sure it's going to be the dude from Michigan. So, you know, I mean, it's just.
Yeah, Iowa started their third-string quarterback in this one.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They didn't. I looked at the box score. I was like, who the heck is that? So, both these teams, it's just amazing. It's almost like spring practices in some of these bowl games with who decides to play in them.
Well, if you showed up, you got a jersey, and you played.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. Good win for Iowa, though.
And at the end of that game, when I thought there was going to be a fight at the Mississippi State game,
oh yeah,
I thought holy crap.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a dust up.
Well, when you run that ball back, I guess most people expect you to kneel on it and just take it and go down. But old buddy was not having that. He was getting him 6 for what might be the last game of his career. So I understand it.
Hey, and it's ironic, Brandon. He was a former Bama guy.
Even better.
Marcus Banks.
Totally. And because that's what I was thinking. I think he transferred out. Then I don't know if he's out of eligibility or not.
I don't think so. I think he's got one more year.
Well, we're watching that Georgia-Ohio State game.
Yeah.
And I'm telling some people, my understanding right, Jackson Smith-Njigba was out before that game ever came to be, correct?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they were playing without him in that game, too.
Yeah.
Because he's out for injury, not because he opted out, correct?
Correct. He's had, a torn hamstring or something. He's been out for the majority of the year. He only played early in the season. I think he's only got 5 or 6 catches for the whole year. So he had that huge Rose Bowl, and then everybody thought he would be an All-American, but he never really got on the field. But Marvin Harrison Jr. kind of picked up the torch, and they had both those guys put up huge numbers. But I will say this for Ohio State, unlike Alabama last year, Ohio State had enough guys step up in the game where they could still make plays. If their head coach hadn't lost his nerve, they still would have won the game. Alabama, they had Jaleel Worthless and Ajay Moron out there who couldn't catch the ball. Ohio State had guys that could play, and they had a deeper receiver core, and they had a quarterback who was on fire. They've had injuries to their tailbacks as well, but still they had enough quality guys out there on the field to win. And this was just on the head coach. The head coach lost his nerve, and he's just not a big-time guy. I think, he may eventually get over the hump. Certainly Kirby has overcome some of his big-game gaffes early in his career. But we'll see. But right now, Ryan Day does not impress me as a big game coach. Talks a lot, and if you heard him at halftime, he said, "We're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to win." And then he talked about going to be aggressive, going to be aggressive, going to be aggressive. And then in the fourth quarter, that's what you got.
Yeah.
And Ohio State and Michigan can go play in the Midwest, Chicago, third place game if they would like to, in the Kevin Warren Bowl, brought to you by Joe Biden.
Well, we watched that Mississippi State game yesterday up at Martin's Barbecue in Nashville.
Yep.
And the whole place went nuts when Mississippi State scored, and then there at the end. That's a great venue to go and be at when you're in downtown Nashville. I appreciate Joe Hunkapiller sharing that with me.
There you
big
go.
place,
Joe
big
Hunk.
downstairs, big upstairs, throwing darts. It's always great to throw darts unless you can make sure your kids can actually throw them straight. So you're throwing them and about taking out somebody. The bathroom door is next to the dartboard, the women's bathroom door. And if you rear back and let a dart fly and it goes the wrong way, you're looking at, turning somebody into a pirate, real. And having to watch that yesterday after we went to a little machine gun shooting to ring in the new year. So just hoping to see some changes. I'm hoping to see some coaching changes pop up on the board. I'm hoping to hear that Bill O'Brien went to be with the other Bill. They can be Bill and Bill and figure out what Saban's going to do with the rest of these people, because the way they're all talking about coming back made me want to take a sledgehammer to the inside of the hotel room. I don't want to hear any talk about Pete Golden or Freddie Roach coming back.
Appreciate it, Brandon. Happy New
Thanks,
Year,
Brandon,
man.
for the phone call. Yeah, and we talked to Travis in hour number 1.
Yeah.
And he we highlighted the fact that, okay, Alabama fans now, you're going to have to see who else is going to declare for the NFL draft, who is going to go in the transfer portal.
Yeah, you got to see that. And
what's your feeling with? Let's start there with Eli Ricks. What's
I
your
tried
gut
to check
tell
yesterday.
You there?
I think he should come back.
He posted a picture of him in all white.
Yeah, and
saying that the decision has been made.
Yeah, to me, he should come back. I don't see how he has a high grade. He didn't play, Scott, until the middle of October at Alabama. And, he had the great game against Mississippi State, but then who else? He got penalties against LSU that helped lose that game. He didn't make any plays yesterday. He got Saturday. He got cursed out by Saban for screwing up a call.
Right.
I mean, to me, he does have all the intangibles physically. But he even admitted, because for the first time, he got to talk to the media after the bowl game, because you have to open up the whole locker room. And he was asked about, what happened at Alabama. And he truly admitted that it took him a long time to learn the scheme. And to me, you need to polish it up, man. You need to have another good year, and you'll certainly get some opportunities, because Kool-Aid McKinstry had a great year, so they'll probably be testing you next year. You need to come back and create some value for yourself, because I don't see how he's anything but maybe a 4th-round pick or later.
Right.
I mean, maybe he works out and does well enough to be a 3rd-rounder. I definitely don't see him being a 1st or a 2nd-round pick. If he has a great year next year, though, that could happen. But he needs to create value for himself and come back. Now,
are there any other surprises along the way that, we always have a player or two that,
Jermaine Burton already announced he was coming back, and that's a wise move, because he's definitely, more of a 4th-rounder later guy. He's not in the same class of these other Bama receivers we've seen, though he played well Saturday.
Yes.
Certainly did.
Showed potential.
And, when you look at it, most of the other guys, like the Jordan Battles, the Henry To'oTo'os, the Tyler Steens, all these guys, they've got 8 or 9 going to the Senior Bowl that decided not to use their extra year, and you understand that. They're ready to move on. I think Alabama's ready to move on. That's fine. The 4 guys that have left so far, I expected them all to leave. I thought they all had real good shots to be 1st or 2nd-round draft choices. With Eli Ricks, I don't believe that's the case. And the thing is, he told Mike Rodak of AL.com, we've had him on the show, he does a great job. He said, well, Nick Saban's always right. And Nick Saban did say yesterday, after he had Bryce, Will, and Gibbs up there to announce, that there'll be other guys announcing later on. Certainly Branch did. We'll see what happens with Ricks, but I've got to believe that they got feedback on all these guys. They start doing that a few weeks before the bowl game.
Right.
They gather the NFL intel, and Coach Saban is always, up front with all of them. And I remember, that going to, the Outback Bowl, or I guess it was I don't even know what they're called anymore. I think this was still the Citrus Bowl at the time when Alabama beat Michigan and Harbaugh. When everybody, including myself, I thought Najee Harris was gone. I thought, okay, this is Najee's last game. He's going out, he's playing. But then he got his feedback, and it was a 3rd or 4th round grade. He didn't like it. He came back, and he created value for himself. He became a 1st round pick, and did you see him on Sunday? I mean, what a game he had against the Ravens.
Right.
And, I mean, what a great receiver he is out of the backfield. What a great catch he made. Had 100 yards rushing. He's a big part of the Steelers. So, to me, Eli Ricks, I've checked. I haven't gotten anything definitive one way or the other. But I think Eli Ricks needs to come back because, again, he had one good year at LSU. His sophomore year, he got hurt early, was shelved for most of that year, and then he transfers to Alabama, and we don't see him until the latter part of the season. So to me, he doesn't have enough film. I mean, I'm sorry. These workouts, that's a dangerous thing. Look, I mean, the Jets drafted Zach Wilson because of a trash schedule, and he worked out against air and threw the ball 70 yards, and they thought he could play quarterback. And in 2 years, he's already going to hit the road, because they've already basically written him off. So, and again, that's the Jets' fault. I'm telling you, you need to take into account competition, film, what you see. But I'm telling you, I was never sold on him at BYU. I never thought, because again,
right.
like even during that final year he was at BYU, they lost to Coastal Carolina. Okay? It's not like he stepped up against some great competition. And so to me, Eli Ricks needs to prove he can get through a season and play. And plus there's NIL. I'm sure Alabama could take care of him via NIL. It's not like he would be hurting. So we'll see what he does.
Tyler Harrell.
Oh, he said he's going to have to see if he comes back or not. Scott, he had 2 catches for 18 yards, man.
Well, I know. I mean,
of course, if I want to know if Alabama wants him back. That's the better question.
Yeah. Because
they're bringing in a Malik Benson, a talented junior college player, 3 other really good receivers. One of them has looked really good at one of the All-Star games, though. Trust me, Scott, I learned my lesson many years ago about these All-Star games and all this stuff. And it's not real football. I got guys sending me clips of practice where they're not even in pads and they're running around each other, and I'm like, what the hell is that? What does that matter? You know what I'm saying? It's not even real football. It's just drills.
Right.
So we'll see. But certainly, I think Jalen Hale has looked good in the bowl game prep at receiver. So it's going to be interesting. Tyler Harrell's a graduate transfer, so I have no problem if he moves on. He has a degree. He can go anywhere he wants. I'm interested more, though, does Alabama want him back? Do they think they can – if he can be a part of it next year, because they got a lot of receivers coming back. So what kind of role would he have? I would lean toward Tyler Harrell moving on and finding somewhere else to play, because I just don't know if he's really going to be in the plans next year, unless they finally think he's going to get healthy and with his speed can be a bigger part of things. But look, he supposedly got healthy the second half of the season, Scott, and his reps were minimal.
Right. All right, let's get into more conversation after the break. We got to flip the script. College basketball. We got to preview Alabama's in action tonight. We got to preview some other stuff going on as well. All that and more with your tomorrow's headlines today when we return. 97.7 ESPN The Zone, Talkin' Ball.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Just got a wreck on the Parkway. This one's on the northbound access road at Cameron. No injury. HPD should have it out of the way pretty quick. Everything else looks good. Just a lot of folks dashing, trying to get in on time this morning. If you're in that last-minute group, please be extra careful. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist, Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Egg in the North Parkway, Popeyes, Skywatch Traffic Center.
Rambo Marine in Hazel Green is your one-stop shop for all things boating. Whether you are ready to surf with the newest Malibu weight boat or cruise on a Cobalt or Barletta pontoon, we have a boat ready for you and your family. Rambo Marine provides exceptional service second to none, so that you are ready to hit the water in no time. Stop by Rambo Marine today. We know boats. Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs.
I never thought about space in my cramped apartment, but in this house, all I see is empty space. The sofa and ottoman look like tiny islands in a sea of hardwood floors. I could get 2 ottomans in the living room, but then I'd need another sofa. I could tell people I'm into minimalism.
Anyway, when you save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto, that's the easy part of adjusting to the suburbs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
Football season is here, and as always, the best place to catch every game is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill. Humphreys is celebrating by bringing back their game day football specials: $2.75 Miller Lite, Coors Light, Yingling, and $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold Pints, $4 Fireball shots. Anytime football is on. And don't forget football trivia every Sunday night at 6. The best place to catch all the games all season long is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Attorney Tommy Sinyard on behalf of Sinyard Law, and again proud to be a sponsor of All Things Football here on ESPN Radio. My son Bart and I started our own law firm July 1 and are very proud and excited to be bringing you our 50 years of collective national award-winning injury trial law experience. Check us out on the web, sinyardlaw.com.
Sinyard Law, nationally recognized, locally respected.
It's the time of year when football is in the air, and that means cool, crisp fall temperatures are just around the corner. It also means that your home's heating system needs to be checked out before you wake up one morning with no heat. Give Environmental Comfort Systems a call. Visit our website at envcomfort.com. We are your independently owned American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. Alabama license number 92314. Environmental Comfort Systems. That's envcomfort.com.
Local sports is covered right here.
Well, appreciate what you guys do for sports, but also for high school sports and taking time to talk to us. That means a lot, and appreciate what you guys do, and appreciate you having us on.
97.7 ESPN The Zone. This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And we do have college basketball for you this evening. Right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. That's right, 8 o'clock. Alabama, 7th-ranked Alabama, taking on Ole Miss inside Coleman Coliseum. Alabama, a 12-point favorite tonight. Download that 97.7 ESPN The Zone app so you can stay with 97.7 ESPN The Zone and watch this one, and listen to it, I should say, right on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Tonight,
hopefully
8 o'clock.
Kentucky can beat LSU inside Rupp Arena, because if they don't, and they head to Alabama 0-2, Lord.
LSU comes in 1-0. Kentucky 0-1 in SEC play. Kentucky outside the top 25. 9-4 on the season is Kentucky.
Kentucky a 9-point favorite, though.
9-point favorite, yeah. Under 137.5 on this one.
Good
but Alabama
Lord.
taking on Ole Miss tonight.
They are.
Tied a 12-point favorite.
It's a game Alabama should win. You heard Travis say Ole Miss has lost 5 of their last 7. You got to believe Kermit Davis's seat's getting a little hot. We've talked about that because I mean, people don't understand how good a job Andy Kennedy did. And look, he's got UAB 11-2, and basically Ole Miss finally ran him out of town. And
because they felt like the program was getting stale.
Right. And I'm not so sure it was.
No.
So sometimes you figure that out after you make a move that you shouldn't have. And I like Kermit Davis, always have. He did a great job at Middle Tennessee, but he struggled at the SEC level. But Alabama's got to be ready to play. They can't be looking ahead to Kentucky. They need to. Hopefully they'll have a good crowd out there tonight, and hopefully they'll get a big win. They certainly played well on the road at Mississippi State, I thought. They didn't get a lot of calls early, but on the road, look, man, I've always said this. On the road in basketball, and you and Steve are going to be on the road this week with UAH, and then they make the Georgia swing. UAH got 2 harrowing wins, but 2 great wins in the last few days over Christian Brothers and Union. But on the road, you've heard Coach John Shulman say this, and we'll speak with him this week. It's very tough to win. You have to play through the officiating. You got to understand you're not going to get calls, and you have to just make plays. And, I had people texting me because I was at our Huntsville City Classic. We had blowout coverage, and congrats again to Sparkman for winning back-to-back titles. But I wasn't able to see a lot of that old Mississippi State game until the end. And I had people texting me, well, the officiating's horrible. Play through it. Okay, you already going to know on the road you're not going to get calls. So you've got to play through it. It's just the way it is in basketball. And so you got to be mentally tough. And I thought Alabama showed a lot of mental toughness with this group. They won the game 78-67, won it impressively against a state team that was 11-1 and ranked. Their only loss had been in their last game to Drake, who you're very familiar with from the Missouri Valley Conference. And so State's got a pretty good basketball team. And Alabama found a way to win, and they need to come out strong tonight, win the game against Ole Miss, and then get ready for a Kentucky team that, either way, you're going to get Kentucky's best shot. They're either going to come in confident after an an LSU win, or if they lose, they're going to be 0-2. And Kentucky's still Kentucky, man. I mean, I'm not burying them by any stretch. Calipari's won too many games. And so it's going to be – I've seen Alabama lose too many times to Kentucky, even in Coleman Coliseum. So hopefully Alabama's got a chance to have a big week, but it starts with Ole Miss. And hopefully they can take care of business tonight. And Brandon Miller, for the 3rd time, SEC Freshman of the Week.
Say this. It's an average Kentucky team right now.
So far.
It's not a
dominant. They were proclaimed to be a top 5 team.
Yes.
And in the Final Four contender. They haven't been so far, but again,
still a lot of basketball.
Is Calipari going to figure things out? They've still got Oscar Tshiebwe, who's a monster, and it's still a very talented team. So you have to be ready to play against the Kentucky Wildcats.
Bama Bino with us this morning. Good morning, Bama Bino.
Hey, guys.
How are you, sir?
Listen, I just want to tell you, it's great to hear y'all again. I know y'all had to take some time for your family and for Christmas, but it's been a dry spell for me. I don't listen to all that Keyshawn, J. Will, and Mac, and all that. Every time I turn it on, I say, boy, you don't know what you got till you lose it. Y'all are great, and I really... A lot of people on Sunday night enjoy listening to you. And, like you say, I do understand you've got to take some personal time. But I was afraid. I was like, when are they going to come back home?
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, we had to get away for a few days.
Yeah, and we were busy last week. We had it's one of the biggest events every year in the city, so we're always honored to be a part of the Huntsville City Classic and helping showcase high school and local sports.
Yeah, Plainview's usually in that, aren't they?
No, sir. They've never been in that event. They usually are in their own. They have a Christmas event that they're in each year. We'd love to have Plainview, of course, and Robbie Coker, but they have never been in the event.
I knew they had played Huntsville.
Oh, they do. They play Huntsville and Westminster and those kind of schools every year. Yeah.
But they're not in the tournament.
No, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just thinking they might have been. I was confusing them. But anyway, Alabama seemed to, I don't know, maybe they all at once they start playing the ball and they start looking when the man looks. And why can't we do that all year? This is junior high stuff. I don't understand. We played defensive secondary for once.
Yeah, I mean they went out with a bang, no question about it. They played well. It was good to see them play well, no doubt. And I will say this though, speaking of Sand Mountain, it looks like because of this inclement weather that we may have, Bama Bino, there's a threat of it today. I've already been told the Huntsville-Austin game at Huntsville has been canceled, and it looks like, according to Adam Ward, who does a great job as the voice of the Plainview Bears and for Sand Mountain Sports, looks like Plainview's game with Sylvania, your alma mater, has been canceled as well.
And then the Coleman game tonight, Coleman has canceled their basketball game as well.
Yep.
Speaking of Adam Ward, he's my nephew's brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Drew Sims.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Drew does the play-by-play. And of course, my brother-in-law, Dr. Sims, is the team doctor for Benefield. And of course, Drew played for them. But anyway, Adam Ward is my nephew's brother-in-law. And so, I'm proud of those guys. But anyway, is there any chance we can get Pruitt?
We'll see. I certainly hope that could happen. A lot may depend on the Board of Trustees at Alabama. Could be the NCAA as well. We'll see. But, I've been hearing that he's been in contact with Alabama quite a bit. And, of course, you have to make sure he's cleared and things of that nature. But Hugh Freeze is certainly back in the league. And what Jeremy Pruitt's been accused of doing is nothing compared to what Hugh Freeze was basically convicted of. And Hugh is and I'm not, belittling Hugh Freeze at all. He just like Bruce Pearl paid his dues, Hugh Freeze paid his dues, and now he's back in the Southeastern Conference. I certainly believe Jeremy Pruitt deserves another opportunity, just like Hugh Freeze got one, and just like Bruce Pearl has.
Yeah, I think he can put us back on the map as far as playing the ball and making it simple for our defense, running the defense, and with Saban there, you don't have to worry about anything going on. I still think Philip Fulmer had his fingerprints all over what happened.
There's no question about that.
Accusations. I don't see any other way out of that one because I've known Jeremy's family all my life, and I just don't see him knowing all those people. But we love you guys and glad to have you back.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Bama Bino. All right, that's going to do it. That's 2 hours. Feels good to be back, huh?
Oh, yeah. Right back at it like riding a bike.
Yep, we'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock again, Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Download the app today. You can listen to Alabama basketball this evening. Tide taking on the Rebels, 8 o'clock inside Coleman Coliseum. Download the app tonight, or today, so you can hear Bama basketball tonight.
Yeah,
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship...
Hey, it's Greeny, and we have a lot to catch up on. All the NFL action, the college bowl games over the weekend, the national championship on the way. I'll be there to talk about it Tuesday. It's Greeny, during 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
I make the argument that you can't win if you...
Are you ready for a double dose of Week 18 football this Saturday? First, Mahomes and the Chiefs chase a number 1 seed as they take on AFC West foe, the Las Vegas Raiders. Then a ticket to the playoffs is on the line as the Tennessee Titans and Jacksonville Jaguars battle